Welcome everybody. This is the General SharePoint Development Community Call, the bi-weekly sync call. It is May 13th. It is a public holiday in the most of the Northern Europe and in some other areas as well. But so that means that we'll probably have slightly less people joining today than typically on the weekly syncs. It is May 13th and we're heading to the June. And at least personally, it's really great that May is finally over, because I was in Microsoft Build, I was in the SharePoint Conference, and we had a European Collaboration Summit this week. So it's been pretty busy month, at least for me. Now, let me actually get moving on the slide. So today we're going to do a quick recap on what's happening on the PnP CSOM Core, PnP PowerShell, and the modernization tooling, but then the main concentration will be around the announcements in the SharePoint 2019 conference. So last week, it was our spring event. And basically, we want to go through all of the different announcements from there, concentrating on the developer area. Now, the development is quite broad statement in SharePoint and SharePoint Online, like you know. So we're going to talk about also Flow, Impact, and PowerApps, and that's why Chaks is here. And Chaks, sorry for using your AKA name there, but the 3C is so much shorter name than the full name, or Chaks only on there. And then what we want to have a discussion here is that AC is also on the call, so we can have a discussion on also the impact of, for example, SharePoint framework announcements and what it might be as part of the future steps. And AC is absolutely helping on the window as well, so thank you for that. I do know that he's slightly cold or having a flu, so let's see how the discussion goes. But it's at least me and Chaks who are then talking in here. Excellent. Most likely, by the way, we will not have a time for Q&A because I have quite a few roadmap slides and quite a few things to talk about, and we have quite a few demos as well. So let's see how this goes. We are targeting to close on the hour, so that's because we don't want to take extra time. And obviously, we're going to talk about a lot of the announcements and new stuff also during summer and autumn, and as they are getting released as a new functionality as well. So it's not like if you missed this call or we didn't touch all of the items, we wouldn't touch them in the future. That is absolutely our intention. Whenever something is getting rolled out, you are more aware. We will talk about those things in the community call as well. And please feel free to ask questions. We will have, well, at least AC, me, and Chaks helping in here. A lot of the kind of PnP core team members, they're actually in the collaboration summit still. There's a speaker post day over there, so they're enjoying a cruise on the river. And some of them have to move home, but it is a public holiday in Northern Europe, so that impacts the availability of the people as well. Anyway, moving on things. Now, quick recap on the Teams situation, because we always get this question. So Teams, we will start using Teams immediately when Teams will support attendees versus presenters and the capability of upgrading an attendee as a presenter. This has been still missing, but it is coming at some point, and we'll move into the Microsoft Teams platform as soon as possible. It might be that we need to move sooner than that capability will happen, but we would like that to be there to avoid any accidents and accidental sharing of attendee screens, because that has actually happened in our company. Now, moving on things. So opportunities to participate with the community, just to recap this one as well. Every one of you are welcome to participate on a community at the level as you have availability. So you can absolutely volunteer to do a demo solution or a pattern or show a pattern in these calls. That's absolutely welcome. And we'll try to follow up on all of the let's say, discussions and offers in the multiple different channels. And that, as an example of Wardhaman, I will definitely get you scheduled around the topic which we talked in the Teams channel. But I'll come back on that one slightly later. I saw you in the call. You can contribute on a GitHub, so you can be active on GitHub. Some of the GitHub repositories have a nice list of, let's say, what are the things where we would need help. There's a lot of issue lists. There's a lot of suggestions in a GitHub as well. You can also contribute as your samples. Samples are more than welcome, because getting sample on the SharePoint organization or PnP organization will guarantee you more visibility for your sample. And then we'll definitely give you credits out of sharing that together with community and making sure that other people can find it easily as well. And then the most important thing, please provide us feedback so we know if something is missing or something isn't working. We need to know about that stuff so we're able to fix that and make you happy on our platform as well. Good. Quick recap on the assets as well. AKMS SPDev docs, documentation, AKMS SPDev videos, all of the video recordings, everything else there. Community call, this call will be there as well later tomorrow. Hopefully at least during the weekend. I will take tomorrow off because I need to have some time off as well. But then the SharePoint development issue list is the final thing there as well. So if you're running into any developer issues, it's much faster to get support on any critical issue using the dev issue list rather than sending an email to a random person, because that issue list is getting replicated to our DevOps, and that means that people in our engineering are aware what's actually happening. So super important thing. Please let us know. Obviously, if you have a Premier support, please use Premier support because that is still the bypass, really the fastest way of reporting anything and getting support for your issue. Good. Now let's actually get moving on today's topic. Quick reminder. We have Parker assets. We got a lot of demand. There was a lot of massive demand on the Parker stickers in the SPC and also in ECS. And then people were asking around, can you send me those in Twitter? And the answer is no. Just practicalities are so difficult to send anything to random addresses in the world. You can download the assets and Parker pictures from the GitHub. It is all you to use, and you can order the stickers closer to you, and you will get them faster. At some point, one of our managers, Omar Shaheen, actually did send some of the SharePoint logos to people based on a Twitter requests, but I'm not going to go too much on the details, but that actually took 2.5 days from his actual work. So it wasn't really super productive way of getting stickers sent across the world. So we're not going to do that in this case. Now, quick update on the PnP CSOM Core. I think we do not have Erwin, Paula, or Bert on the call. I'm just double checking. I didn't check. I know that Bert is on public holiday at least, and then I'm muting some people at the same time. No, we don't. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick intro and a quick recap on these things so that everybody is up to date on what's happening. The next version of the PnP CSOM Core is happening on Friday, 7th of June. And one of the big things which were actually announced yesterday, I think it was yesterday in the Collaboration Summit in Germany, is the support for exporting all modern client-side pages from existing site. So you're able to basically use the PnP tenant templating engine and export and serialize the modern client-side pages and then create a template, or it actually creates you a template, and then you're able to apply those to another tenant or another tenant or another site in the same tenant. And that's a really cool capability because that helps you on exporting actual data from the sites as well. We're looking into actually also supporting quite soon exporting all of the documents and exporting all of the lists. Now, still, just even though you can then technically and theoretically use the engine, the PnP tenant engine also as a migration tooling, please have a look on the migration partners opportunities, because those tools are officially supported and they have much more additional capabilities. But people were asking about the fact that we really need to be able to export items in a list. We really need to be export documents in a list, or all of the pages in the modern pages which I've created. And why not actually support that? Because technically that wasn't an issue. It was basically a internal decision that we didn't want to go to the migration, in quotes, in the migration site with the PnP tenant templating. But then if there's a demand, why not actually support that? So this will probably help your life, and I can see some good messages on the IAM window already that people are happy about this implementation. Good. PnP PowerShell, same thing, Friday 7th is the next version. There are quite a lot of adjustments here as well. So there's an easier certificate handling for Azure app-only handling. Obviously, the PnP PowerShell can be used to execute the same export PnP modern pages command, so you're able to get those modern pages and list items and all of that serialized to your templates as well using PowerShell or using code. Like I said, the next version will be out on Friday 7th, so that's a week from now in in roughly. Hopefully it will be Friday, not during the weekend, but we'll see when it actually gets out. Quick recap also on modernization tooling. We have quite a few demos in the modernization tooling in SharePoint Conference in Las Vegas and also in Germany. Great tool to help people to transform from the publishing sites, classic publishing, to the modern experiences, communication sites, or transition, bulk transition, or one by one transform your classic pages to the modern pages. I'm not going to deep dive again on all of the different adjustments here, but please have a look on this one. If you have any classic sites, this will help you enormously to do the transition across all of the site collections, or all of the sites, or as an individual transitions as well. Now, let's actually move into the real topic of today. This is really the area where we wanted to spend majority of the time. And I promised Chaks 20 minutes of this time. So Chaks will do a lot of demos today. We'll do other demos more and more than in the future. I have also a few demos queued up on this road. But what I wanted to actually do is just briefly we collected together with Mark Cashman. Well, Mark actually collected everything else except the dev track roadmaps to a presentation, and from there I actually copied some of these roadmap slides, and I wanted to pinpoint here a few items for all of the slides, which we can talk about slightly maybe in our window, or pinpoint those things which are really, really cool and which are heading forward. Well, which is kind of a more developer-oriented from the list of things. The full list of roadmap slides will be shared by Mark Cashman or Chris McNulty sooner or later using the official Microsoft SharePoint blog. Now, on the SharePoint team sites and business apps, there's a extract site to a site design, including multiple lists, branding, and navigation. And that's actually really, really cool. So you're able to actually export the full site design from an existing site. Now, the site designs has a role, the PnP template has a role. The PnP template is more tenant level, multi-site collection level structure. Site design is the one which is visible for end user when you create a site using the out-of-the-box capability. Column formatting will have a lot of investments there as well. There's there's an investments around the PowerApps integration and Flow integration. Chaks will go all details on those. I'm not going to deep dive too much on that topic from my side, because Chaks is going to do quite a few nice demos on there. Now, 1 second, just taking some notes on the site. Now, there we go. Now, here, let's see where to actually put the demo slides. I'm just making sure that I'm actually built this properly. There we go. So site scripts and site actions. There are quite a few new site actions and site script actions available. So the orange ones or the red ones are the ones which are new and getting rolled out gradually. So you're able to create a site columns using XML, for example, associate or create taxonomy fields using the site designs and site script model. You're able to add navigation links, or hub links and footer links, remove navigation links. You're able to set site branding, which means basically header layouts, header background, navigation styles, and all of that. And you're able to activate SharePoint features using the site designs as well. So that will absolutely give you more flexibility when you are extending the out-of-the-box site provisioning experience in the SharePoint UIs. So really cool and getting rolled out gradually. Will definitely be more active on the Twitter and social media and with proper announcements when all of this is available for you to take advantage. Now, on that one, let me actually try. I was just setting this one up when I ran out of time. So let's see if I can actually pull this off. So let me share my screen, briefly showing what it means that we're exporting the full site as a structure. And that should actually work out. Loaded. Okay, excellent. So what I've done here is that I already connected to the Contoso 018A tenant. So let me actually briefly zoom that so you can actually see what's happening here. So I'm already connected, so I can do something like get SPO site, and that's going to list all of the sites which are available in the tenant. So the connectivity is already available. Okay. And what I have here in this tenant, I will actually go to the site. I'll show you the site first, if I can find the right location. And this is the right location. Excellent. So let me go to this marketing site, sales and marketing site, and we're going to use this as an example to export this site as a site design and site script, and then kind of have a look on the JSON structure and what we actually got from the site. So obviously, the PnP engine works as well. It is actually more capable, but the PnP engine is then slightly more different to get integrated on the out-of-the-box provisioning experience. So briefly explaining that as well. If you want to extend the out-of-the-box site designs and site creation process, you basically then are introducing site designs and site scripts, and those are the ones which are visible in here. In my case, I have here one custom site design, which is the Contoso electronic communication site, and that's why the site design exporting is quite important. You can absolutely create a quite simplified site designs and then or complex site designs, and if the basic capabilities are not sufficient, then you use Azure functions and you extend the site designs using alternative means. Okay, briefly, simple site, well, quite complex site actually. I'm going to go back on Commander, and I'm going to actually copy the PowerShell command, which is not yet released. I'm looking into potentially potentially get this one released tomorrow if I have time. I was still planning to have tomorrow also off, so let's see how that goes. It might go that I'm pushing new SharePoint Online release for Monday. But what we did here is that we're running the get SPO site script from web. We provided a URL to that site which we want to export, and then we have a few different options. So include branding, include theme, include regional settings, include site external sharing capability, and include lists. So you're able to pinpoint to a specific list as well. And then I'm actually doing the clip command here, which means that I'm actually paste it from the memory. Yeah, here we go. Cool. And let me slightly zoom that bigger. We can actually see what that we got exported. So basically, we executed. Thank you, the Windows V. Yeah, yes. So we exported the data from the site and based on the configurations of the site. So as an example, there's site columns created there. There's a content type, which is a PnP event, and all of that is getting exported. Create SP list as well. So it's basically then mapping what's included in the site. And I also had the list switch on, and I said I want to have a company event and product events, if I remember correctly. And so we have a definition then for all of these structures, and there's the product list, yes. And we also have view definitions, all of those, and the theme setting of the site, and also the navigational settings on the site. So as an example, what are the navigations? How do we render the header? And do we have a footer or not visible in the site? So all of that is basically then available. Good. A quick demo. I'm going to move back on the slides, and we're going to talk about a few of the roadmap slides as well. But basically, quite easily, you can now export the site designs from existing sites, and we will then do additional settings and additional options there in the future as well. But already as such, you can quite easily extend the out-of-the-box site provisioning experience. Let me move back on the slides, and we'll continue the journey. And I think Chaks gets to do this next demo on this presentation.
Thanks, Vesa. Can you hear me?
Yep. Give me 1 second. We still have one roadmap slide in between, and then we actually go to your demo. Now, on the roadmap, so on the lists and libraries, which overlaps also on Chaks' demo, I think Chaks has a few of these things included his demos. I'm just going to pinpoint here a few things. So there's more flow actions available in the sites coming quite soon to check out items, grant access, and all of that. There's column view formatting things available as well. Web part connections, more of those coming as well. Starting new lists is available, so for including flows, PowerApps. So when you copy a list from an existing list, and that's a really cool capability as well. And there was already on the previous slide we talked about the alert me flow option. So really cool set of features coming on the SharePoint list and library site. And now, if I remember correctly, we actually have a demo from Chaks. There we go, Chaks. Sorry for misleading you on the on the demo time.
Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yep, we can see your PowerPoint. Yes, we can.
So for folks on the call, I'm not going to go through every slide. I do want to go through a few slides and then jump on a few demos. The slides are available to download from SlideShare. I tweeted the link and I also pasted the link in the chat window. So you should be able to get that. If not, I'll again paste the link, or you can visit my Twitter. So one of the key things to reiterate on the business apps and business process world in Office 365, how it's changing. So you can see us push as a key way in Office 365 to build and author your business process in it. And, List has a tremendous opportunity to hold lots and lots of content and metadata and whatnot, and also having indexing automatically available for certain columns. So it's very powerful. So I know many of you are already using it. So how do you take that to the next level? Well, we got several other services in Office 365 to integrate and basically build the automation, build the no-code apps that some of the business users want to customize the list forms, or even just build an app and distribute it for first-line workers, for example. And we have other areas in Azure as well, the cognitive services and Microsoft Graph, everything starting to now coming together in one big product to go and do the things you want to do. We started this, I think, 2 years ago. It was all like bits and pieces, but as you can see, we have made some tremendous progress to bring everything together in SharePoint list and libraries. So just making sure that we're still focusing, and list and libraries are still a primary thing for organizations to go build business apps on top of SharePoint. So this is one of the key slides. As Vesa said, SharePoint development is a lot. There's a lot of things going on, but we actually cater to a lot of audience if you actually look at the bigger picture, right? So if you're a pro dev, you can start to use the platform and extend and write code to extend the platform to your needs. So we have tremendous opportunities through Graph, through Microsoft SharePoint Framework, Azure AI, so whatnot, right? So we got those opportunities for pro devs to go build the next best, the big thing that you want to build on the platform. However, that same platform is also a great boon for the product team, because now we can use the same technology, backend technologies that even these pro devs use to build the no-code solutions, the no-code, low-code solutions on top of that. And you can see us doing a lot of stuff with conditional formatting, flows, PowerApps, everything behind the scenes. You may not know that they're using Graph, but they actually use Graph to deliver those in a much easier way to these business users, so they can build these modern apps really fast. And finally, it really benefits the authors, right? So the people that go to a page, add web parts, create lists and libraries, and within a few clicks, they want to just do everything they want to get. So the spectrum comes from pro devs to the authors. So you can see us making some decisions where you do need to write code, and then you'll see us slowly going to a low code solution. Like view formatting is a very good example. Right? If you want to do something in SPFX, we got the field customizer. If you don't want to go through the SPFX but go to the UX and do something, we got the the ability to update JSON and put your stuff into it. Now you can see a demo where we are extending that a capability where not just makers but also authors can quickly format the list. So this is something to keep in mind, that we are always working in this three spectrum, and we'll go from one to end as the scenarios and needs grow. So list, everybody knows list. I'm not gonna talk about this, but I do want to highlight one thing. We showed demo where lists are now available in Teams. We're going to keep improving the experience here. You're going to see us lists being pushed on top of Office 365, especially in Teams, where you can just go create a new list and then start working on it. And as we integrate Flow and custom forms and other coming along the year as well. So it's going to be a tremendous opportunity for us to invest more and how we collaborate with respect to having lists in different areas in Office 365, especially starting with Teams. Conditional formatting, I'll show a demo. It's very, very cool. I really love it. Gone are the days that JSON is the only way to do things. We are pumping up, development resources to help us build these sort of out-of-the-box experiences. So more and more stuff, users are able to do this. and you don't have to depend on JSON unless there's something that we don't yet have in the UX. So there's a lot of stuff we are working in List. We got several good feedback around, hey, I just want to do some simple things like show height and reorder columns in list forms, but I don't want to go to PowerApps, but I just want to do those things. When I really want to go to PowerApps, I would go there. So we're trying to explore that and see how far we can go with those things. Image field, picture field is not something we really love in SharePoint, right? So we want to have a native image field that you can just say, click add image, and then you upload an image, and it behaves like an image. And then URL field, how many of you are frustrated with the 255 character limit, right? So we want to go fix those. So we're working on some new fields. Modern quick edit. You saw the demo in the keynote in SharePoint Conference. If you haven't, have a look at the keynote. The rule builder UI, so that's the conditional formatting UI that applies to both columns and rows. And also we're working on other views like tile-based and card-based views. So we can have that support natively in list and library. So exciting things. List and libraries are the key core entities for us when we start about thinking about business apps. So I'm really, really happy to see all of these updates coming through. Workflow, I'm going to skip all of this. We all know about all of the other things, but some of the key things here. So Flow just released Modern Approvals V2. So you could see it's actually rolling out. It will be with V2 at the end of the action name. There's some updated schema that helps you to get responses and approvers and all the other details much nicer, and has all of the details. If you, for example, send an approval to 3 people, how do you capture what the first person replied, what the second? So we have some updated schema that will help you to grab all of those information. And that's the start and wait for approval. But we got several feedback around, hey, I just want to start an approval and then do several things before I actually wait for the approval. So that's where the approval is divided into 2 things. One is create an approval that basically registers in the system to say, hey, there is an approval now ready. And with that, now you can basically say, don't send an email notification, but here is a thing that you can send to Teams, and let this approval be managed to Teams. And once you said that, and then you wait for an approval, right? So you can say, here's my approval. I'm going to wait for my approval in the flow so that I know that I have to respond to this approval when I do have somebody approving or rejecting it. The idea is also here that the approval should be cancelable, but we're still working on those ideas. But basically now, since you have a separate approval, you can basically wait and cancel. So we have more opportunities there. We also have the ability to craft your own response buttons. So if you don't like approve, reject, you can say yes, no, need more info, and or put how much ever options you want. So it's pretty cool updates to modern approvals. New connectors, we have Teams and Word. Teams connector is really cool. I'll show you a demo where you can post messages as an adaptive card to a Flow user or to Teams user or to Teams channel using the Flow bot. And Word connector, there are lots of good stuff coming up. If you want to create a document based on properties and put metadata into it in your Flow, so you can do that with the populated Word template from Flow. And then there's also the ability to convert Word documents to PDF. So really cool updates. I don't think I'm going to show a demo on Word connector this week, but the next call I can go deeper into that. So what we're working on flows this year, which means that these will be shipping before Ignite or during the end of this year. So check-in, checkout, discard checkout, create a folder, heaps of requests on this in the user voice, in the Flow user voice. So we are looking into those. Access management, grant access. So you want to set permissions. We're going to work on those actions. Again, highly requested action for flows. Visio integration, I did demo Visio a few months back, so that's getting geared for release. So if you haven't done that, go have a look at that video call. If you go to my blog, I think I have a blog there as well, the same PnP call. And then working hard on GCC support. So end of June, we're hoping to have starting the rollout for GCC low and moderate. the SharePoint integration pieces, meaning that you can say use request sign off and page approvals and all those stuff. The connector is live in the GCC low and moderate. So if you go to flow.us, flow.microsoft.us or PowerApps or Microsoft.us, you should be able to connect the SharePoint data and get everything integrated from the service side. And then we'll start working on the GCC High, which is slated at the end of the year. So I'm going to skip this video and I'm going to go quickly to the PowerApps, what's coming. So delegation for complex types, choice, lookup, persons. Today you can't filter by choice field, by lookup field, by person field. Those are the 3 fields we are working. It's almost ready. So we'll be shipping that soon. These are all you can consider in the next 3 months when you say, some of the things here. And custom forms, support for doc libs. So you can now customize forms or document libraries and use them as you would use custom forms in list. Guest access support for custom forms is also coming. You're testing internally, so happy to see that. That is also something that will come in the next 3 months. And same for GCC environments. There's a lot of stuff here that you don't see because I have put those in a different category in the top of mind, which is we are working on this. We don't know when they would come. They would be ready as they are ready. We haven't put them in the roadmap, but happy to communicate that we are working on these things. So package and reuse starts from list. So to go from list wizard, you should be able to say I'm going to create a new list from an existing list, and basically that will pull the flows and custom forms if you own those flows and custom forms in that list to the new list. So it helps to map scenarios like I'm a maker, I go to an organization, I want to build this app, I create my own dev site, I will build the custom forms and flows there, and then I basically want to now push this to the prod site. So I'll use list wizard from an existing list, choose that list from the dev site and push it to prod site. Later next year, this will move to getting integrated into site scripts and site designs, so you can move from one tenant to another. The key pieces, the challenging pieces here is to ensure how we track the identity and how we use that identity across flows and custom forms. More granular flow triggers for lists. We hear that a lot more now, and it's one of the top requested user-wise items in Flow IDS forum. So we are working with the platform team. So basically, my team now is integrated with Vesa team, Vesa's dev plat, and every other team. So we get some great opportunity to work together on this. And also working on site design applied triggers, so you don't have to use a HTTP trigger call from site designs. So these are all some great stuff that we're working. We just don't have the timeline. We'll push it as we get closer over in the next few months, or at Ignite, you'll have a better picture of these things. So I'm going to end this and go to some demos. So the first demo I want to show you guys is the ability to, right? So every time we use JSON, so here's the list. Now, so review date, for example, when we ship, we are going to have some options here. So now if you go to format this column, you're going to get a new UX, and you can see there's already a template available. I can edit this template, and I get few options. If the review date is before today, is today, and after today. Voila. And like within seconds, I actually got everything here. So I can apply this. And then if you have a number field, I get some data bar option as well. Look at that. It was pretty simple. So I can just say maximum values 360. And then for positive values, I can say I need green. And if you have negative values, you can configure that. But now I get a bar pretty easily done in a few seconds. So this is great. What about rows? So I can go to now all items, format current view, and I actually have a new option called list styling. Now I can go click that and I have more options. I can give borders. I can also say the text color is green. I can also say the fill color is blue. I can say the border color is orange, and font, I want 21. That's really bad. Let's not have 21. Let's say 15. So within a few clicks as a user, now I'm able to customize the formatting in list for columns and views. So this is one of my favorite announcements in SPC 19. This is going to be rolling out soon. It's not yet there, but this is a pretty exciting feature. More updates are going to come for more column types and more formatting options here. So let's say here in this list, if you see, if I edit the item, you can see that it's using a custom form and customize the list, which is nothing new. But you can see that I can't edit my project effort. I need to actually request for an effort and increase, right? So this is the great example of how you can use custom forms that goes beyond the limits of things in list forms, because now you are they have to go through a request process. So now if I go to the flow here, and then you can see I have request effort increase. So I click that, I'm going to get here a flow. What this is going to go do is it's going to ask me what's the effort increase that you want to do. I'm going to say 10, project requirements changed, and I'm going to run flow. So this is going to basically go to the owner of the project, which here is Pradeep Gupta, and send a Teams message for him to approve, reject. So let's go see, here's Pradeep Gupta, and in his Teams, he should soon get, there you go, he got this right now. So you can see the same approvals, which usually went to emails before. Now, I don't get any email, but I actually get everything done in Teams. So now I can basically say here, approve, submit, and if I go back to Nestor, when this is done, 45 should change to 55. There you go, it's 55. And what it does is it goes to the research projects channel in Teams and also post a message saying that, hey, Nestor, your request is now approved by the owner, right, Pradeep Gupta. So this is really cool. No emails. Everything in Teams works in mobile, works in web, works in all of the apps across all platforms. This is really powerful scenario if you're looking to targeting, how to bring everything into Teams. So if you look at the flow, it's really simple. For a selected item, now I use a new approval, create an approval, and in the advanced option, I say don't enable notifications. And then for each approver, I use a new action called post your own adaptive card as a flow bot to a user. This goes and targets a user in Teams. And recipient is for each approver, right? And then one of the cool things with this create an approval action is that you get the adaptive card that actually knows how to interact with the flow bot in your Teams. So as long as you've added the flow bot, now if you send this adaptive card, you get that adaptive card, which is here. And now the flow bot knows how to handle approve, reject, and all of those stuff, right? So that's it. Adaptive card, you give that, and boom, you're done. And then you say wait for an approval. So now you're saying waiting for an approval. What is the approval here? Basically, the approval that we created before in that action. And that's it. Rest of the steps are exactly the same. At the end of the approval, you actually say post a message to the channel instead of to a user. And here I can construct my message, whatever I want to do. And if it's declined, I send a message to the user who requested this approval. Pretty simple, right? So that was my demo. There's another demo that I probably would show in the next PnP call, but I do want to show this thing, which is the delegation, right? Everybody wants this. I was not able to show this in SPC 19. This is again coming soon, but you can see here, I'm actually selecting a choice field in SharePoint, and it's actually refreshing my gallery of list items with the choice field. I can also say person field. I want from admin. I want from user. So there's nothing in user. If I go flow, I'm going to get something back. If I have something in user, if I do all, I'm going to get everything. And also lookup field here, which is using gallery. It's really simple and same as any other query that you would use. I'm saying if it's, I'm just doing some expression check, if it's all, I'm going to say filter, feature backlog, which is my data source, product area dot value, which is the choice column, right? To the drop down in here is my app, and then backlog, which is again another field, which I think is a lookup field here, I'm going to do selected.value. And if it's a person field, I'm saying contact.email to whatever that value. So no more squigglies once this rolls out for choice lookup at person. It's pretty simple. And now everything goes delegated to the SharePoint server and brings just those records back. And then finally here I have my check-in, check-out actions, which is still again it's not rolled out. So good thing here is we get to use these and dog food these and make sure that they're all good. The bad thing is, releasing features takes time. So we're taking to ensure that these things get the appropriate testing and validation done. So it would take another few weeks, 3 to 4 weeks to actually have these things rolled out. So check in a file, same as any other thing. You have ID, you can get comments, and you can publish as major, minor, or overwrite the file. Checkout, really simple. Address of the site, library, and the ID that you want to check out. And then discard checkout, you can just say the same thing as ID. So I breezed through these demos, but I think Vesa, you'll be recording this and making it available on YouTube. So
yes. And anyway, we'll cover more and more.
This is very, very important. Yeah. One thing I need to say is that these are coming, not released yet, but once they come, you can certainly see us tweeting and documenting in every place that we want to go and share this. Thanks, Vesa.
Thank you. Thanks, Chaks. And we do apologize. We knew that this is going to be a pretty hectic community call. We will have a lot of content to go through because we wanted to actually walk through a lot of the scenarios and a lot of the announcements from SBC. And like I said, when we started, we will go through and spend more time on each of the bigger topics one by one in the upcoming community calls as well. So it's actually really good that we have weekly community calls for SPFX and then the SharePoint Dev General, where we talk about flow and column formatting and branding and all of other topics as well. Now, I'm not going to concentrate now on the IAM window for the next slides because we have 15 minutes and I want to still go through and pinpoint all of the coolness which we talked about last week in SBC. A lot of the videos, by the way, will be available sooner or later. I don't think we have released them yet, so some of the Microsoft sessions were recorded and they will be available online as well, so you can see then live demos on a lot of these capabilities. Now, SharePoint employee engagement, which sounds weird terminology, but it's basically the modern portals and the pages and APIs and all of those. Page templates is already rolling out. Audience targeting is coming to news pages and highlighted content, but there's already ongoing discussions of having audience targeting also for third-party web parts, which is a critical thing. So we're able to actually take advantage of that one as well. Root site upgrade to communication site is rolling out as well, gradually getting rolled out, so you're able to transition your existing classic theme site to be a root site, to be a communication site, and we talked about that one in these calls as well. Super important. SharePoint home site is coming out later this year. Quite a big announcement from the SBC. So this is basically your corporate site. So and then you can associate hub sites to the home site and your corporate site, and then stuff is getting aggregated across the associated sites. And this one is basically a communication site, but when you set a communication site to be a home site, it gets super capabilities, so additional capabilities, and then it's able to you're able to access that more easily when you click the SharePoint in navigation or land there automatically, and it gets superpowers basically based on the elevation mode when the communication site is elevated as a SharePoint home site. We'll start with a supporting one of these in a tenant, but we know that there are requests related on having multiple home sites or SharePoint corporate sites in a single tenant, so that's actually something which is getting worked on. The Page API is getting worked on later this year. Timeline, required metadata support for pages, Fluent for SharePoint experiences. That means the new UIs is coming gradually, and more branding updates are coming as well. So I'm going to walk through a few of these. I'm not going to actually spend too much time on the topics, and most likely, yes, I need to jump quickly, skip the home site demo as well, but I'm going to explain what these are. But home site is basically a personalized landing experience for your organization. So it's the organizational landing site, the global intranet landing page, which is then personalized, and it has a lot of additional logic behind of the scenes to be able to aggregate relevant information for you from your organization. And then we do have the SharePoint start page still, which is around concentrates around you as a persona. So, for example, your follow sites, your recently used documents or recently used sites, and all of that information is in there. And this is the SharePoint home site is really the organizational landing page, and there will be new capabilities and web parts and options available here. And one of the really cool things here is also the vertical layout zone. So on the right side in this particular case where you have those numbers and countdown web part right now, it is actually a vertical zone. So it actually is not a horizontal zone to add the web part, it is a vertical zone, and then you're able to set color and background for that as well. So you're able to control that in the site. Few of the other kind of branding elements as well. So obviously modern portals is a big thing for us, and that's getting a lot of love from our side, is the header options. So standard or compact header is available there, and logo and header options can be changed really easily using the UIs. And then what's coming in this here is also the capabilities of basically the header section to hide away. It will minimize itself on the top when you're scrolling down on the page. So the impact of the header is much smaller when you actually scroll down the page if it's a long page. That's really really nice feature as well. Now on the page templates, this is already getting out and is gradually rolling out. We've shown this actually a few times already in the community calls as well, I think in the SPFX side, because this is the same UI where the app pages will be visible as an option if you have app pages deployed to your app catalog. But as an out-of-the-box capability, it provides you 3 different layouts by default, and then you're able to save any of your existing pages as page layouts and reuse those in that particular site. When we go, now that it's rolling out, it is a site-by-site pages, but there is already an ongoing tasks and development happening or engineering work happening for making this as a tenant level catalog optionally as well. So you're able to basically have tenant level or hub level page templates sooner or later. So really cool stuff as well. New central assets library. So this is basically the design to address the scenario where your branding people want to actually control the logos and images which are available within a tenant, or you want to provide a central set of images and pictures which people should be using within their own sites. And this one will basically be then an option when you're picking an image or an asset inside of your site collections. From a branding perspective, you're able to pinpoint to the centralized asset library in your tenant and then get access on those images from there. Really cool capability as well. Now, I was planning to do a quick look on the SharePoint home site, but I do apologize. I'm going to skip this because it would have been like a few minutes demo, and it's just flipping the screens actually takes too long. There is the video from SBC, which is getting rolled out quite soon, and you will actually get access on the exact same information what I've shown here. Now, I do promise next time, in 2 weeks, we'll talk about more on these options and how they actually work in practice. So gradually now that the stuff is getting announced, we're able to talk about more and more what's happening behind of the scenes. So I'm going to skip this one. I do apologize because we only have 7 minutes. Now, few things on the SharePoint modern pages. Some of these are already mentioned. So the vertical column is coming soon. Undo redo is coming soon, which is really cool. Page template was mentioned. Content header, deep linking of headings, multilingual content publishing is in the pipeline and currently mentioned here to be later this year. I think an official roadmap is meant to be rolled out in the early next year, but this is the updated one from last week. And your input in this section is super important for us to understand where do we want to invest so that you wouldn't be creating any more classic publishing portals, publishing portals which are using publishing features, because that capability is actually from 2012 or 2011, and it's 2019. So the modern portal should be the right option, and communication sites should be the future-proven, selected way of doing these things in cloud. Now, Microsoft Search was announced in build. So the big thing also here is the Microsoft Search APIs in Graph. So they are out already right now in beta side of the things, and you're able to access the information which has been indexed or crawled within your tenant quite easily using the Graph API. So super cool capability again, which is gradually getting rolled out. The UI of the UI extensibility in Microsoft Search, there was a lot of discussions and internal discussions on this within the past weeks. And like we covered actually in one of the pretty recent SharePoint Dec weekly episodes, Mikael Svensson is joining now Microsoft Search Organization and Engineering starting actually from next week, and his responsibilities are defining the UI extensibility for Microsoft Search and how that will work together with SharePoint Framework. So really cool stuff as well. Mikael Svensson is an MVP who's been really active on this area anyway in the past as well. Moving on things, I'm just pinpointing the critical or the most important elements from last week is from a Microsoft Stream. We had few items here which are kind of important, especially from a development perspective. External video sharing, quite actually important thing, because if you have a Microsoft Teams community calls as an example, you would be able to then share the link to the video directly rather than downloading or pointing to the YouTube or whatever. So a super important thing in the community side. And also the public REST APIs for uploading. So you're able to automate all of the scenarios on using the Microsoft Stream. The Stream itself, I really like personally Microsoft Stream a lot. So, but I'm still waiting for those APIs so we would be able to really truly take advantage of this one. But it's in the pipeline, in future, top of the mind, and obviously your input again here is critical. So please go to the user voice, vote. If you really want to have a public REST API or Graph API for uploading videos, go to the user voice, give your vote, and that will actually have an impact on the prioritization. So thank you for doing that in advance. Now, on the dev platform, nothing really super dramatic, but I have a few slides here, and that was the reason why I wanted to jump, skip the video, the demo. So obviously the roadmap slides are pretty much the same from a week ago, so we haven't actually made any key changes in here, but I do have a few things which I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to jump on the following slides. So first of all, the CSOM.NET standard, we have talked about that quite a few times in this course. It is coming soon. We're actively working on that one as well. So now after SBC, that thing is moving forward, and hopefully in summer time frame we are able to build out or release at least a preview version and then quite fast GA version of that one. And there's also great improvements in the Microsoft Graph side related on followed sites and site collection enumeration, so you're able to access that information from SharePoint or in external applications as well. Then a few things which I wanted to explicitly talk about or kind of a mention. I will go this through quite fast, and I do apologize on that. This 1 hour doesn't give us a huge amount of time to spend time on all of these. So on new stuff and new areas, the SharePoint framework building on personal tabs is coming quite soon. So we're building this together with Microsoft Teams organization. So we're able to build applications and expose them as Microsoft Teams personal tabs. So basically, they will be then available from the 3 dots on the left menu rather than having them to be exposed as tabs inside of the Teams channel. The library components will go GA quite soon in 1.9 release, which is planned to go live on the 2nd Tuesday of June. That's the current plan. We might actually delay that slightly. Let's see, but I will keep everybody up to date on what's actually happening here. Library components, absolutely a great thing. So that's super valuable implementation. It's already quite solid, so we're not actually planning to do any changes, pretty much any changes which I'm aware, at least between the current implementation and the general availability. Using SPFX for building Office add-ins, I demonstrated this in Microsoft Build first time 3 weeks ago. So that's coming to preview, hopefully 1.9. It might be that it actually comes slightly later. But when this comes live, if you have interest on this one, please ensure that your feedback is being heard and being collected. So we're able to show that there is a demand for this option as well. There is an internal discussion that this is something where we should be investing or not. So it is up to you as a community to show us that there is a demand for it. Strongly typed extensions for modern portals. So this is really cool, and this is what I wanted to actually skip the home site demo, because sure, cool looking sites are cool, but these are actually something which will help you as a developer or as an architect to design the future solutions. And again, these are coming later this year. They're not yet available. But navigation data extension, you're able to override, or your implementation is able to give the navigation nodes for the main navigation or the navigation elements in the pages. So if you would prefer the navigation nodes as an example to be a security aware, permission aware, you can actually implement that. So it's up to you what is your business scenario and how do you want to generate those nodes, and you're able to then override the out-of-the-box nodes in the navigation. Super, super cool thing as well. Now, more importantly, it's not just about the nodes. There will be an alternative option, is that, okay, if the nodes overriding is not enough, I want to override the whole navigation. Yeah, not a problem. We support that as well. So we're able to then, as an example, if you don't like the out-of-the-box mega menu, you would want to have something more flashier, something more beautiful, you can do that by deploying a SharePoint Framework extension, which will be then targeted in the navigation section. And you absolutely can take advantage, for example, the tenant-wide deployment of extension option, and then override all of the navigation entries across the tenant in a simple way. So if you want to do that, well, you don't have to, but again, if that's a business case, what you want to do, you can easily do that with a single deployment. So super cool capability as well. And then the footer, so we have an out-of-the-box footer on the modern pages currently. We will give you an option to override that out-of-the-box footer. So right now we have a button placeholder, but that's actually a floating placeholder. So it's not in the end of the page. It is all the time visible and floating on top of the page, so to say. This option will give you the capability of overriding the out-of-the-box content footer and replace that with whatever you want. So basically, when you scroll down in the page, the final section of the page will be then the footer, and you're able to say, do not use the out-of-the-box one. I want to use a completely custom one, custom experience here. And that will definitely support, if you want to also have the button placeholder implemented there, absolutely support it. We're not going to take anything that away, but this is more targeted on the modern pages side. So really cool, cool thing as well. I can see a lot of thumbs ups on the Iron window. Now, I do apologize for 2 minutes on the top of the hour. I will take 2 more minutes, quickly recap things which we announced. Support for Webpack 4 is coming on the developer tools, smaller packages, smaller node modules, storage requirement reductions, super important things, optimizations, faster inner loop and outer loop, whatever that means, but it means that we're planning to start releasing stuff once a month, so which is a super important thing. So you will be aware when there's a new version available, and reduce locking in the debug console and optimizing the platform in general. And then we're working with the Fluid Framework people. So this is something really cool which was announced back in Microsoft Build timeframe. We already have nice mock-ups available, which we demonstrated in SPC and in Collaboration Summit to demonstrate what the Fluid Framework could be in the context of SharePoint and with the integration of SharePoint. But that's pretty much what we wanted to go through today. 3 minutes more than planned on the clock, so not too bad actually. And I needed to only skip one demo. And I do apologize, we went through really fast. I was talking super fast. Chaks had a lot of stuff to talk about as well, and we needed to go that fast. But we wanted to have this kind of a one community call where we kind of quickly recap what was announced last week, and then we will definitely talk about all of these things in the upcoming calls, in the internet, in the social media, and all of that stuff as stuff is getting rolled out and as we get more demos available on the new capabilities. But hopefully you find this model useful, even though it was rushing, I get that. But we'll talk about the additional stuff on the upcoming calls as well. So the next SharePoint Framework call is on next Thursday, again 7 a.m. Pacific time, and the next SharePoint Dev General Community call is on 13th of June. So we keep on rolling these during the summer as well. But thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for really, again, active discussion in iWindow. That absolutely provides value there. Thank you, AC, for helping on that on the Ion window. Didn't have a time to chat with you on the impact of the SPFX announcements, but we can actually talk about that one next week in the SharePoint framework call. Hopefully you will be available in there. And thank you, Chaks, for the great demos as well. We'll definitely book more time on the SharePoint PowerApps and Flow integration in the upcoming calls as well. But that's it from our side. Thank you. Have a great Thursday, have a great Friday, have a great weekend, and we'll definitely stay in touch in social media in other ways. Bye-bye.